My name is David Madison, the 4th of March 2020. I'm an ex-clergy atheist, and I have collected 383 book titles, that was the count as of last week, into what I call the Cure for Christianity library, in homage to Mark Twain's famous comment that the best cure for Christianity is reading the Bible. These books explain in detail the falsification of theism, Christianity especially. Please tell your Christian friends about this. They haven't noticed. They've got a lot of homework to do. Just type Cure for Christianity Library into Google. These authors state some pretty blunt truths, hence this series of videos, Cure for Christianity Knockout Quotes. But guess what? My quote for this video, number 19, is a statement made by a devout Christian author. Ben Witherington III is a prolific Christian writer, noted especially for his 400-page commentary on the book of Romans, Paul's letter to the Romans. At the opening of this book, I found this startling admission, quote, "Embarking on a study of Romans is rather like beginning a long journey. It requires a certain amount of preparation, patience, and faith. As the goal of understanding this formidable discourse is not reached for a considerable period of time," unquote. Romans is indeed one of the charter documents of the Christian faith. Martin Luther suggested the Christians should memorize it, and in 1939, theologian C.H. Dodd called it the first great work of Christian theology. That's the hype, of course. Romans is one of the worst books in the Bible. What struck me, however, was Worthington's warning that understanding Romans is not reached for a considerable period of time. No surprise, since thousands, literally thousands, of books, scholarly articles, and doctoral dissertations have been written trying to figure out Paul's theology in Romans. Wow, isn't God's word supposed to be easy to understand? After all, the Gideons have given away more than 1 billion Bibles. You know, it's right there in your hotel room. Pick it up and learn about God. But Ben Witherington knows better. That's why he wrote a 400-page book analyzing every syllable of Romans to discover what it means. And boy, what a challenge. The classical historian Michael Grant wrote this: "Paul is far too impulsive and enthusiastic to standardize his terms or arrange his materials. He is often ambiguous, with results that have reverberated down through the centuries. He commits flagrant self-contradictions, which caused Augustine, among many others, the deepest anxiety." So this is the guy that God picked to write a big chunk of the New Testament? Makes you suspicious, doesn't it? How can it possibly make sense that God would want you to take a considerable period of time to understand Romans or any other book of the Bible? Was God trying to make it hard for some reason? And there's the other part of Witherington's comment. It requires a certain amount of preparation, patience, and faith. Preparation, yes, you had to make time to do the homework, you had to study the commentaries. Patience, yes, because at first reading, texts can be very puzzling, even appalling, and theologians work hard to wiggle out of the bad theology in the Bible. But then there's Witherington's third thing, faith. Does he mean if you really, truly, dearly believe in God and Jesus, the right understanding will descend upon you? That's not how critical thinking works. What a problem, arguing that an ancient book so far from easy understanding is God's way of communicating. Witherington's biggest goof was admitting that it takes a considerable period of time to understand a Bible text. That's a dangerous confession, and thus, unintentionally, is a knockout quote. What if you don't believe in something important in time to be saved?